But is it really a project by me if I don't have to frog? Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Oline and I'm a knitter from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here I talk about all things knitting, my current project, finished project, planned project. Sometimes I talk a bit about yarn, just anything that pops into my head while I sit here and chat with you. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. This week has just really flown by. I was so surprised today when I saw that it's Friday, and today is usually the day I film podcast, and I just realized that a whole week has passed since last time and I can barely remember it. I don't know where this week has went, what I've been doing, anything. I've gathered all of my knitting projects and I'm honestly excited to go through them as well, because I don't know where this week has gone, so it will be fun to see just what I've spent it doing. I'm also here alone with my son. He's in the room next to this playing a bit by himself. I don't know how much patience he's going to have, but we're going to try. But before we get into all of that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm wearing, and today I'm wearing my Fern sweater, which is surprisingly very hot. And it is surprising me because this is probably my least worn sweater. I think I kind of know why it's my least worn sweater, but I also don't know, because while it's my least worn sweater, it's also probably one of my favorites, which is why I haven't parted with it, even though I haven't really been able to wear it as much as I wanted to. This sweater I made over 3 years ago, no, maybe exactly 3 years ago now, and it was the first sweater I made myself after I'd had my son. He was still quite young. I guess he was about 2 months or something when I made it, so that's pretty much exactly 3 years ago, and I just really wanted to make something for myself. I had made a couple of projects for myself before, but I'd spend a lot of time just making baby clothes, and I was really in the market for something for myself. And then I saw this, and the lace on this is gorgeous, and I just fell absolutely in love, had to have it. Got the yarn the same day I found the pattern and started working on it, and I was so obsessed with working on this. I can remember it. I was so into this pattern that I would stay up every time my son woke up in the night. I would stay up a while longer just so I can knit on this, because I just wanted to knit on this day and night all the time. And I remember I have so many fond memories of working on it and loving how it looks and just loving everything about it. But in praxis, I can't really get it to work for me. Like, this part down is pretty great. It's also quite warm, even though it is full of all of these lace holes. So that's quite surprising that it is as warm as it is, because I think this might be one of my warmest sweaters, but the neckline just does not work for me. I am not a huge fan of turtlenecks, no matter what. As it turns out, didn't know that when I made this, or I would have made it differently, probably knit down this or something. But this turtleneck is also so high. I've folded it down multiple times to do this. So that's also an issue, and when I fold it down multiple times, it makes it tighter, which is also not great. And probably my biggest issue with it is that this whole sweater has mohair in it, and since making it I have become better at mohair. That was a big problem when I first made it, because I couldn't really handle mohair next to skin on my arms either, but now I can. Now my only problem is here, and it's also so tight that it like really itches and kind of scratches, so that's not great. And I also think I just don't love the look of turtlenecks. I'm not quite sure, but since it's made top down, I think I still could probably cut into it and either just cut into it somewhere around here and either do it folded down or just finish it off with some Italian bind off. But it is a bit harder since it's knit top down because the stitches, everything go the other way. I know people have done it, but the people I know who have done it have said that it wasn't really worth it for the amount of work that it was. So I don't know, have any of you done it, and would it be worth it? Because I think it is a really pretty sweater. I love the color. It is in Drops Baby Merino and Drops Kid Silk, and the Baby Merino is in white, and I think the Kid Silk is in light beige, which makes for this really pretty marling effect, which I really love. I love pairing Kid Silk colors that are just a bit off from like the main yarn color. I think it gives a lovely look, like my Levitate wrap. More on that later, but I love so much about this. I love pretty much all of it. I just can't bear to wear it. It is a bit better in winter when it's cold, because I think the mohair calms down a bit when it's super cold and freezing, but I don't know. I would love to wear this more. Don't know how to get there. But that is my Fern sweater. I would love any and all suggestions on what I can do to fix this. I think it is the turtleneck that is the problem. I could also probably try to block it, if that would help, to just stretch it out, because I think if I just had a bit room in the front, because it's the throat that's the problem and not the neck. If I just had a bit of room here to like breathe without it constantly scratching on me, I think it would be better. So maybe I could try blocking it. I don't know. Would love any and all suggestions, but that's it for what I'm wearing, and we can move into my whips. And most of my whips I have here in this basket, because my wedding dress has moved into this basket because it has really outgrown the project bag I had for it, which I think is a positive sign. But that being said, that does not mean I've done anything on it this week, because I just haven't gotten around to it. As I said, this week has really gotten away from me, and I had very good intentions. I was going to work on the wedding dress. I was going to do pearls on the belt. I haven't gotten there. I think I can't really promise I'm going to do it this week either, because I have a lot of progress, a lot of projects I'm a bit too excited for, and that I want to finish as soon as possible. So I don't know if this will be the wedding dress week either, but I really want to say that I'm going to work on it. I have made good amount of progress on both the regular wedding dress and the mohair wedding dress, but it's been quite some time since I last worked on the mohair dress, so I think I might do that again. It's also been a while since my fingers have worked on anything with like large needles, so I think I could do that, and I don't have to have time to do much because it progresses so quickly. So that could be a good way to still get some progress in on this. I feel like after I had those weeks where I got so much progress, I'm not that stressed about it anymore, because I still have a long while left, and I kind of want this to not be finished that long before, so I'm just working on it a bit here and there, but I just want to make sure that I'm far enough that it won't be like a stressful thing at any point in time. So working a bit here and there I think is nice, and also the more it grows, the more ideas I get, like the belt idea I got last week. So I just want to make sure I work on it a bit here and there, so I have time to add all of these ideas I get and everything and thing without me stressing, and still have time to finish everything that I'm thinking about. But wedding dress did not get any attention this week, and to be honest, I have quite a few projects that didn't really get any attention this week. I cast on a lot last week, a lot, and some of them just have not gotten any attention this week. I don't know why. I think we've just been busy. We've also been quite social this last week, so that's probably a bit of the reason. And we've just been outside. As I've been saying, fall is really coming, and I want to enjoy a couple of last days outside before we have to put on a ridiculous amount of clothes just to be outside, because that is a battle. But this is another project that I haven't worked on this week, but that I'm definitely working on this week because I need these DPNs for another project. So this is going to get finished because I need to finish this sleeve and then the other sleeve as well to get my DPNs back. I could probably just finish the one sleeve and take them, but I'm going to finish both so this does not turn into a UFO. That's the zipper sweater light junior in Sandnes Garn Per Gynt, but this is a Per Gynt I got at their outlet store, so it isn't quite right, but I have a lot of faith in this. I think it's going to be a great sweater, and it also looks really good, and I'm so glad that the zipper I got really matches. So that's that. Also, last podcast I weaved in all of the ends, so I should really work on this because it is so close to being finished. So I think that's something I'm not going to do it today, but this might be the project for tomorrow. So hopefully next week this will be done. And then another project that I had every intention of working on this week and that I really want to work on, I'm just unable to, is the Harald sweater. I keep mixing the Sunday and the Harald up, but this is the Harald sweater, which I modified to be on 5mm needles and with both air and Kid Silk Erle. And I thought last week that I was going to get more air because I visited my sister and she lives somewhere with a yarn store that carries drops yarn, but they didn't have the color I needed in stock, so I didn't get any, and I still haven't ordered any online, so still haven't gotten anywhere with this. I was really hoping I could avoid ordering online because I don't really like ordering anything online, but it seems like that is the route I have to go if I want this finished. And I think I'm going to deliver all of these sweaters the first week of September, so I really need to get going. So I think I might have to place an order for, I think, 2 skeins of air to finish this. So I haven't been able to work any on this week either, but I'm getting there, hopefully. And then for the projects I've actually been working on this week, we have the Willums, which I also started last week. And these I worked a lot on. They've also progressed quite quickly once I actually started working on them. I think last week I had this one leg, and the legs are so long I can't fathom how long the legs on this are. They're massive. And then I finished the second leg this week, and then I've done this just plain stockinette part for the body, and I just moved on to the ribbing, and just all of this is so long. These pants are going to be so long, it's absolutely insane. I'm doing the size 3 to 4 years, which is the last size of the Willums, unfortunately, but super excited about these. My son's also excited, and I'm nearing the end because I think I have 1.5 centimeters left of the ribbing, and then you do the thing in front. What's that called? The like overall part of it. And then just the... Oh, what's all of this called? I only have the pattern in Norwegian, I don't know. But the straps, I guess. And then it's done, and I also do the straps at the same time because I didn't do that in the start, and it was so much counting rows to figure out if they were the same length. So when I figured out I could do them at the same time, I've never looked back. But this is going to be my focus of the day because I can see the finish line. It's so close, and I just want to get there because my son also has no knitted pants, and it's getting cold outside, so we definitely need them. So these are my main focus for today. Hopefully I'll finish them today and also weave in the ends. Maybe I might start weaving in the ends on this in the podcast just to make sure I'll weave in the ends. Especially this is my least favorite part, and another thing I hate about working bottom up is that you have a cast on here instead of stitches on hold, so I can't just Kitchener stitch them together and I have to sew them together and it never looks good. If you have a suggestion on how to make things like that look good, please send them my way, because it bothers me so much because I can never get it to look right. So I would love suggestions for that as well. For these pants I'm using Merino Extra Fine, Drops Merino Extra Fine in the medium grey color, I think. Or the dark grey. It might be the dark grey. So these are almost done. I'm super excited about them. And while we're on the topic of pants, this is a bit out of order as to when I cast them on. But while we're on the topic of pants, I have cast on one project this week. That was kind of a part of my Cast On Everything You Want week I had. And that is the Chunky Rib Pants by Jord.clothing, and these are another pair of favorite pants for us. I really love that these are so easy to pull on and take off, so my son can do it completely on his own, which is really valuable. And they also go up a bit farther in size, which I also like. I think these go all the way up to 5 to 6 years. I think these are in the 4 to 5 year size, and these are also the reason why I need my DPNs back, because I've done the top part in single rib, and you're supposed to have an I-cord here, but I have sewn in an elastic because that also makes it easier to self-dress, and that's why I love these pants. So I'm doing everything to keep that part of it intact. And then I have done the German short rows, which I love. German short rows in ribbing, especially 2x2 ribbing, is even better than just regular German short rows, and also more invisible. This is of course pre-washing, but I think they're pretty invisible. And then I've just finished the top part of the pants and done a couple of increases down here, and the next step now is to start working on the actual pant legs. Also, if you want to do pants, I would really recommend finding patterns that are top down. It's a better experience in my opinion. You don't have to do magic loop, you don't have to do any of that. I highly recommend it. But I need my DPNs now to do the legs. I could probably do magic loop, but I'm not going to do that. I would rather wait and finish the sleeve and do DPNs. DPNs is much better in my opinion, so that's why I've stopped here. This is waiting on me finishing the zipper sweater. This was my main project for a couple of days, and instead of picking the zipper sweater up and finishing it, I jumped back to the Willums because I am just really eager for my son to have a pair of pants to use as soon as possible. As I said, I'm making this in 4 to 5 years just to have a size bigger than what it is right now, so I won't have this same project problem next year, because I always procrastinate making pants way too much and then we end up without any knitted pants, so I'm trying to avoid that this year. So those are the projects I've been working the most on this week. And then of course my project that I'm maybe the most excited about, and that is the project I've been taking everywhere we're going, even though I haven't really been able to work on it any, is my Levitate wrap. I am so in love with this project, and I think I've done a fair bit on this since we last saw it as well. I think I maybe only had the back yoke last I filmed, and it's pretty. I love this, I love the color, I love everything. And since last time I have done both the shoulders. I picked up stitches for the first shoulder when I was visiting my sister and when we were out and about going around sightseeing, and I really do not recommend that because I picked up stitches, and of course I thought I had done it correct, so I never went back to look at it, and then I just knit the whole shoulder, absolutely the whole thing. And when I was doing my last increase, I just counted over the stitches because I like to do that right at the end, and I realized I was way off, and I measured it and I was way off, and just everything was way off. And as it turns out, I'd picked up 2 stitches too little all the way down here, so I had to frog the whole thing, which was super annoying because it's knit with mohair and a 2 strand, so it sucked to frog it, and it also sucked to knit it back up. Using those strands, it was just a mess and tangled so much, but luckily this is knit on 6mm needles, so it was done quite fast. It would be better if I just done the pickup right the first time, but is it really a project by me if I don't have to frog? Don't know. I think the issue was that I read the wrong size in the pattern. I think that's why it turned out wrong. I might also just be really bad at counting while I'm also trying to hold another conversation. That might be it, but I think I looked at the wrong size, but got that fixed, finished this shoulder, and then I just breezed through this shoulder because I'd already made one. And I almost finished both of these in one day, because after finishing this, the skeins, both the drop stacey and the kid silk, looked like they were also almost running out of yarn. So I said to myself, okay, I'll just start on this so that the pickup of stitches and everything is done for when I wake up tomorrow, and then I'll just finish the skeins. And I knit and I knit and I knit and I knit, and turns out the skeins weren't really that close to running out. So I think I got to about, I think I had 1 increase left on the shoulder when I stopped, when I ran out of yarn. So I got a lot further than I had expected. And then the next day I finished it and started actually working in the round, which I've also done for just a little bit now. And that's kind of at the point where I started taking this around with me. We got back home and I've been taking this around with me when we've been visiting my son's friends. But with multiple toddlers, you don't really get anything done. I've done a couple of stitches here and there, but nothing more than that really. So I hope this week will be a bit calmer, because I am really eager to see this turn more and more into a wrap. I am doing increases a lot more often now that I am on the body part, so I think I'm starting to see it look more and more like a wrap now, and I just want to get a little bit further before I put it on a longer wire and some try-on tubing and actually try it on, because I am so excited to see it on, both just how it looks, how it feels, but also I love everything wrap, so I'm super excited for that. But that's where a lot of my time knitting has gone this week too. And I've also spent a lot of time just petting this, showing it to others. I think I've talked my fiance almost to death over this project, both the color, how lucky it was that it turned out good, because there is a big difference in between these colors, and I show them to him all the time, like, look how big a difference it is, and then look how good it turned out in the actual project. Look how good of a kind of mix in between these it actually turned out to be. That was so lucky. It's so great that I'm finally working on this project. Feel it, feel how soft it is, feel how soft it is. So he's quite bored and quite tired of this project. I think he's also looking forward to me being done knitting on it, so I can just wear it, because usually I don't bother him as much about my finished projects, but my whips, he gets to hear about them a lot. Everything I say here I've told him probably 10 times, because I just like to talk his ear off about my knitting, and I just want him to feel how soft it is. But yeah, I am really excited for this and to wear it. So hopefully I'll have more time to work on this week as well. But that's really it. I haven't finished any projects this week because I've just been working a little bit here and there on too many projects to really finish any, but I think that means that next week and possibly the week after that I'll probably have a lot of finished projects because they're all kind of reaching the finishing line at the same time. But yeah, that's it for my whips, and while I'm not finishing any projects, I'm going to take that opportunity to hopefully get through a lot of my project with loose ends. So I'm going to get my needle and my scissor and try to get through as many ends as possible before either I or my son lose their patience. But I'm going to get my needle now. I'm back, and this time I have scissors and my needle, and I think I still have my basket of shame that I should get to, but I think I'm just going to start a little bit on the Willums just so I have more motivation to do the last couple of ends when it's actually finished. So if I do the two, because this yarn is also superwash, so it has a lot more ends to weave in than my like wool project. So if I do 2 of the ends on this, and then I can do 1 of my basket of shame projects. I am getting somewhere with the basket of shame. Also, I have to say I have removed a couple of projects from the basket of shame, and they're just other places in the house. It's not that I have actually weaved in the ends, but the Sunday sweater, the adult size, I still haven't weaved in the ends, but it's closing in where the time where I'm actually going to give it away. So I've put it closer to a place where I see it every day, and maybe that will get me to just weave in the ends without this segment as well. That's what I'm hoping for. It still hasn't happened, but maybe today I'll get myself to finally order the last yarn that I need to finish the Harald sweater, and then I'll also weave in the ends on the Sunday. And then I can see that in the basket of shame that we're getting really close to the blanket I made a little while ago as well, and that's also huge. So I think getting through the like really huge projects will help the basket at least look a little smaller, but also the small projects I feel like are always the ones with the most ends to weave in. I also think the blanket's going to have a lot of ends to weave in, but just in general, small ones have just a lot of ends. So I'm trying to do a bit of both, but it's going to be so nice once I'm finally through the bucket of shame. And I can still say that I haven't added anything to the basket of shame since I started really working towards emptying it, which I think is kind of an accomplishment in itself. I'm trying to remove 1 project from the basket each week at least, and then not adding any, and it might take me a long while, but I think I'm getting better habits because I'm at least not adding anything, which means that I'm actually weaving in the ends on the things I'm finishing now, which I think is a really big plus. And I'm more working towards getting that habit than getting the basket empty as fast as possible. Those are 2 ends for this one. My bangs are also at a crazy length right now, and they're in my eyes all the time. I think we'll do this today. This also does not have more than 2 ends, so maybe we'll get through multiple projects today. That would be really nice. This is the Sophie shawl. It's going to be a Christmas gift for one of the matriarchs in my family. I don't know if it will be my mother or which one of my grandmas will get it, but one of them. I also have more yarn for more Sophie shawls, and I had every intention of starting Christmas gifts early, and I still could start early because it's still a while left, but I made this one quite a while ago and I haven't made any more Christmas gifts since. So hopefully me weaving in the ends on this will act as kind of a reminder, because it would be nice to get through a few more Christmas gifts before we get even closer, because I always get so many new plans right around Christmas, and then all of a sudden I'm making... Ja, har du sørt litt?
Ja.
Oi. Ja, men rydder du da?
Jeg rydder.
Ja, så bra. All of a sudden I'm making Christmas gifts for way more people than I had initially thought of making Christmas gifts for, so getting a bit of a head start knitting for those I already know I'm going to want to make something for would be nice. And that's both of the ends for this one as well.
Nå peilte jeg.
Har du peilt? Og du har ryddet alle perlene?
Ja. Kjempealle perler.
Kjempealle. Let's see what's going to be the next project. I think the next one out is going to be these socks, because my son it would be nice to actually get these socks.
Det sokk?
Det sokk, ja.
Det sokk?
Det sokk. It would be nice to actually be able to wear these. So I also don't think they're going to have that many ends, so I might be able to finish this as well. But as you can see, we are starting to run out of patience. Oops. Just trying to at least finish this end. I'm also...
Pappa, hører ikke den røde traktoren?
Nei. Han er på jobb.
Med bilen? Det er traktor.
Nei. I'm also trying to figure out my fall knitting plans. I have a lot of fall knitting plans for my son. I have a lot of things I want to be able to make him this fall, but I'm trying to figure out... I also have a lot of plans myself and a lot of yarn with a plan for myself, but I'm trying to figure out my exact fall plans. I have a lot of ideas, but they're all quite vague. I know I want to do a cable sweater. I think cables just remind me so much of fall, so I really want to find place for me to make a cable sweater in the fall. Same with color work. That is also something I really want to make this fall. It just has so many fall vibes with color work that I am really into. And then also lace. As I said, I love this. I love the lace of it. I love the working it up. And I do some lace, but mostly for babies. But I would love to do lace for an adult. I don't really know what patterns to do, so I think I'll have to look through Instagram. Probably that's where I find most of my patterns, and try to find my exact fall plans, just so I know where to go from here. And then I also go through my stash and see which of the projects will be next summer, which will be this fall, which will be winter. But but we're pretty much run out of patience now, so I'm going to stop here. I didn't get through this first full sock even, but I finished weaving in ends on one project and got a bit done on the Willums and started on this, so I'm going to count that as a win. Thank you so much for watching this week's podcast. If you liked it, please leave a like and a comment. That means the world to me. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. Bye!